Packers. With or without Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be a tough upcoming season. Look at the schedule. Set to face 10 teams that made the playoffs last season, including trips to Kansas City and to Baltimore to face the Ravens. But there's a little bright spot shining on Green Bay yesterday. This from Rodgers' former teammate and clearly friend, John Kuhn. Aaron and I are friends, he said. We spent a decade of our lives together in the same meeting rooms on the same practice field, so we do talk. And quite frankly, this is something that I believe is fixable. We got Mike Vick back with us now. Mike, what is your level of faith in Green Bay if Rodgers and the Packers can somehow salvage this relationship?
I have absolutely no faith. I mean, when you make this type of statement on draft day when the whole world is watching, I mean, you really mean it, you know, and it's coming from a place not of hatred, but it's coming from a place of you just being ready to just move on. It's like a relationship, you know, when two people feel like, you know, it's over, you can feel it in your heart when it's over. And I honestly feel like this is unrepairable, unfixable. Now what the Green Bay Packers have to do is just set their sights on Jordan Love. You know, the thing is, they don't want to look like trash this year, and it's understandable. You look at the schedule, and, you know, you got 10 teams up there that made the playoffs previously. And, yeah, I would be calling Aaron Rodgers, you know, repeatedly as well. So, you know, this is a situation that is not fixable. The Green Bay Packers are going to have to find a way to come up with a solution where they can look at this schedule, win some games, and try to yield some dividends. You know, but this was their doing. You know, this is the reason this has happened is because the Green Bay Packers, they overstepped their boundaries a year ago when they drafted Jordan Love for all the right reasons, and I understand where they was coming from with the decision. It was just bad timing. And Aaron Rodgers is at the top of his game right now. At 37 years old, he's at his peak and continuing to get better, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's unfixable.
Yeah, I think Mike is probably right. I think here is, if I were giving advice to the people involved in this situation and they wanted to keep Aaron Rodgers, my advice would be this. Matt LaFleur, you've got to be our Trojan horse to a degree. Matt, I need you to get with Aaron, and I need you to tell Aaron that you also don't like Gutekunst. You're as mad as he is. Ooh, and it's got to be you two, the head coach and the quarterback. We are going to play. We're going to be so good this year and perform at a high level that after this season, we will together, after we go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, whatever happens, you have another MVP caliber season. We will unite together, and at the end of the year, we will walk into Mark Murphy's office together and say, both of us don't want to work for that guy anymore. I think that is I think if they are trying to salvage it, you need someone that's not a player, someone in the power structure of the team, not to lightly or vaguely support Rodgers, but go to him directly and say, I am on your side. I didn't want the pick either. I loved what we did our first year together. I think it set us back. I think you carried us last season because if we show their schedule again, Brandon, this schedule easily breaks into, oddly enough, the 3 different columns on the screen. That first column, if they have Aaron Rodgers, is a 5-1 start. Aside from at San Francisco, they would be favored in every game they play. That second column is brutal. Washington's great defense, Arizona team a lot of people think's on the come, the best team in football, Kansas City, a team with a great quarterback in Seattle. The Rams could be tremendous if Stafford stays healthy all year. And then, so you feel like the first third of the season is as easy as it's going to get. The second third of the season is as hard as it's going to get. And then you see where you're at after the bye, you know, given that you've got, I think, 2 really tough games and 3 very winnable games. So I think if they have Rodgers in the fold, Brandon, they could be a 12-plus win team once again. But I think they need they need something drastic to happen to get Rodgers back fully in the fold. And so that's why I suggest the Matt LaFleur angle.
Listen, Aaron, it's not an if. Aaron Rodgers will be a Green Bay Packer this year and the years to come for these reasons. You got James Jones and John Kuhn, guys that he spent a lot of time with, coming out publicly and saying that it's fixable. That's what they're saying. That's coming from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is uncomfortable getting uncomfortable. Russell Wilson did it. He made a public statement. He went on the herd and talked about, you know, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. Deshaun Watson did it, you know, before everything kind of got out of control in his life. But he did it. He made a statement, said, I want out. Where's Aaron Rodgers? Why isn't he saying it? Because he's uncomfortable. So he's going through different channels, Wilds, getting his message out. So he will be a Green Bay Packer, and they will compete. They will be a 11, 12 win team like they've always done, right? But here's the problem. They're not going to be a contender. They don't have the defense. They don't have that Charles Woodson playmaker on the other side that can get them more possessions and turn the ball over. They're a team that's always going to compete at a high level when they have Aaron Rodgers, but they won't get over the hump because they continue to mess up the offseason. They don't get it right in free agency. They don't get it right in the draft. They continue to just make a mistake after mistake year after year, Wilds.
So I agree with you, Brandon. I think he's going to be a Green Bay Packer. And I really like Nick's idea of LaFleur kind of teaming up with Rodgers, with one addition. Nick, to your idea, I think if Matt LaFleur goes to Aaron and presents that strategy, I think Aaron looks at it and says, it's a good idea. One quick note. How about $80 million? How about that? How about we do your plan and I get $80 million for a few years? Like, wouldn't that be even better? It's like, it's kind of your plan plus like a huge like treasure chest of money, and that will work out because
I'm coming back to
that's what I'm saying, Mike, because that's what John Kuhn laid out. He said he wanted to be the highest paid. He wanted to be job security. He wants open communication, which sure you get like a, you know. Here, we got a separate Verizon line for us that we can chat together. I think it's still about money and security, Nick.
Money always helps. And I hear and I understand Jenna's question. Like, is that what this has always been about? But, and I know there have been a lot of reports, and some seem to conflict, but we've had multiple people report at different times this offseason, they've offered him a bunch of money. They've offered him a new contract or a contract extension, and that didn't get the job done. So I do think it is more than just that. Mike, though, I want you to break the tie on between Brandon and I about whether or not, if he's there, they can be a real contender, because all 13-3s are not created equal. I thought 2 years ago, when they went 13-3 and lost to the Niners, that team was not a real Super Bowl contender. They had the record of one, but the Niners dominated them twice. Last year when they were 13-3 and were in that NFC Championship game till the final moments, if there's not a very questionable pass interference call, they're getting the ball back down 5. They played it without Bakhtiari. I didn't look at the gap between them and Tampa as massive the way I looked at the gap between them and San Francisco the year before. So I did think they were real contenders last season. If Rodgers is there, do you think they can be real, not 10-win contenders, Super Bowl contenders this season?
Super Bowl contenders. I mean, they're the next closest team that can compete for the championship in the AFC, in the NFC, behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when you look at all the success that the Green Bay Packers have had over the last couple of years, it's because of that man right there, Aaron Rodgers. It's because of number 12. Without him, this team don't win 8 games. Brandon just alluded to it. They don't have defense. They have Aaron Rodgers, and they have a couple guys that can fill in. And, you know, if they can get this all together, if they can get Aaron Rodgers back, then they can compete and they can contend. But if not, they roll with Jordan Love, and it's going to be a tough season for the Green Bay Packers. The best bet is to find a way to persuade Aaron Rodgers to put that uniform on again moving forward.
No, they're good. They got Blake Bortles yesterday. No matter what, they're in good hands.